Welcome to SF Commercial Property Conversations with Bruce Bean, where Bay Area investments meet expert insights. Get ready to unlock the strategies of commercial real estate success.
So today we have Daniel Atwater with us, and Daniel came out of the San Luis Obispo world, and went to USC. So Daniel, it's great to have you. I just love to kind of hear how you got from San Luis Obispo into UCLA and your own business. It'd be great to hear the history.
No problem, Bruce. Happy to be here. Thanks so much for having me. And then just a quick correction for all the Trojans out there, I feel who may have some sensitivity. I went to the University of Southern California, but no problem with our fellow Bruins across town. Yeah, so I was born in Los Angeles. My folks are from Los Angeles, but wanted to pursue technical careers, and so they went to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and so I was really raised there with a great appreciation for California and the environment and all those things that the Central Coast offers. But really, especially as a Dodgers fan, I prescribe to come down to Los Angeles, to the big city, and enjoy some of the economic and lifestyle benefits here. And so I immediately graduating high school, I came down to Los Angeles and went to California State University, Los Angeles, and was able to get a job as I was finishing up there working for the city of Los Angeles asset management division for their real estate surplus properties and asset management under Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa. And then after that, as I was transitioning to graduate school, got a job working for combined properties and commercial real estate. So that's really how I got to Los Angeles. But my career has gone on from there.
That's fantastic. So then at some point you decided, okay, I'm going to go out and start my own business.
Yeah, it was great. My background in starting in asset management and operations, public and private sector, was great. I really enjoyed the themes of economic development and bringing new communities to life in terms of a new product. And at the same time, I had discovered this business communication degree at USC and had learned about the latest in social media, and Facebook was just coming out, and there was kind of a brave new world. Also, USC is the largest enroller of international students in the world, right? Competes hand in hand with New York University. And so I had exposure to not just the university environment, but top professionals in media, technology, business. And my program was a hybrid program where it's essentially a soft MBA. So I took classes at the USC Marshall School of Business and also took classes at the Annenberg School for Communication. So I had this kind of business communication degree paired with commercial and public sector real estate. And so I was left with what to do with that. And so I was able to get a job working for a PR marketing firm in Century City, who was working with some of the top folks in real estate and financial services. And that was really my practice, to come in and work as a professional services provider for marketing and PR and the latest in social media and all those things. So I worked there for almost 5 years, and it was a great experience. And as 2015 approached, there was a big push for innovative ways to look at sustainability, inclusion, all these things. And I have a pretty diverse background family-wise and care a lot about communities. And so my uncle actually encouraged me at that time to go out on my own and start my own consulting business with a little bit more of a progressive lens to representation of real estate and financial services firms in the Southern California market. And so I endeavored then, and really what's funny is, as I started, I had all these ideals about how I was going to help these companies be more progressive and more mindful of ways to get after a new market share of diverse audiences. But the reality was I had no back test or no qualification to be able to demonstrate that could provide a business value other than the fact that it sounded good. And so, invariably clients came to me and they said, Daniel, you understand finance, you understand real estate and how those two markets interact. What we really would like for you to do is just help us have a better relationship with our customers, help us get news media attention, help us understand social media, and help us do traditional digital and belly to belly marketing. And that's really where I grew my business. And then over time, what was funny is that I started attracting, the type of clients that cared about community and cared about environment, but they truly were, market rate in terms of their desire to have business, be the driver of the activity, not necessarily, function from like a philanthropy standpoint. So it worked out really well. And over the last 10 years, I've been able to work with great projects, both locally in Southern California, but also nationally. And it's been a great experience overall.
So can you give us an example of a project that you worked on where you potentially brought in both the digital marketing side and maybe some sustainability approach?
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the cool things about communication is it always evolves, but at the bottom line of it, you're basically an ambassador between an organization and its constituent, right? So, like the same tried and true things that exist in real life when you're talking to someone in person matter on digital as much as they matter in real life. So, showing up, being considerate of someone else's needs as well as your own, being consistent, being clear, all those things matter in a communication environment. And when you get into the digital space, now you're just talking about a moment where you have 6 degrees of separation that are connected through technology. So you can connect with anyone, anywhere in the world, in any time zone. And then also there's a higher level of responsibility in terms of responding to those needs, tracking those impressions, tracking those metrics, and then reporting those. And so it basically just expands what already exists in real life. And an example of a project that I worked with, and specifically in that regard, was for the last 10 years, been working with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services California properties within various different issues they have to expand their reach. Most people don't know this, but the Home Services of America brand, which it falls under Berkshire Hathaway Energy, is one of the largest in transactions in the nation. And so we helped them to create a new homes division to compete with some of the other emerging brands like Compass and Compass and others that were coming out with their new construction brands to represent like essentially the growth of new construction to respond to the housing crisis in California. And so in terms of digital, we had our traditional media strategy where we put out our press releases and had our spokespersons and had our conference appointments and all those things. But we also had a whole media strategy for social media where there was sub brands for the different divisions. And then later the company launches probate trust and conservative division as well to address different markets where they had, property owners and investors that were looking to do those deals. So, it's kind of one of those things where, again, you have the parallel of the traditional way of doing marketing where you're interacting with people in the human experience, but then you also have the digital life or the avatar experience that's happening online to complement that strategy.
That doesn't happen very often, I don't think, where somebody has expertise on both sides. It seems like you've got the digital guys and then you've got the sort of traditional promotional side. And it's probably, I'm sure, nice for a company to come in and find somebody that has expertise on both sides.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's funny because I had, almost 5 years working for an agency that was PR and marketing before I started my own consulting company. We were essentially servicing as account managers more than we were subject matter expertise on one specific thing. Where you would have, folks that would come in and they were your digital jobs person, your social media person, or your influencer campaign person, or your talent person, or your events person. And you'd have people who that was their strong suit, but the core function of an agency, because you're being retained by marketing divisions of larger companies, is to be an account manager. And so your job then is to often sub out these programs. And so you become more of an understanding of the blend of communication and marketing. And so you kind of know a little bit about each thing enough to manage it, just like you'd have a construction manager or general contractor know how to manage the subs, similar way.
Well, that's cool. So, for the audience sake, can you give us a few little pointers on what things to do, maybe what things not to do in terms of social media or advertising, particularly for the real estate world?
It's funny, when you have a city and you're doing urban planning, you have a specific plan or a master plan for the city, and then you really want to be mindful of all the different stakeholders, the investors, the developers, the patrons, the tenants, the vendors, et cetera, the community members, the homeowners, and the businesses that are there. Like you really look across the board of everyone who has an invested interest in this plan. The same exists when you're doing social media planning. When you do your content calendar and you're going and go, okay, here, what's the target in terms of the impressions and the voice and the tone and the reach that we want to have with these customers and stakeholders, people who influence the decision, whether they're actually the ones who are going to be buying it, or they're potentially going to be in opposition of it, or they're going to influence either of the two. So you look at your content calendar and you go, okay, what are the type of themes and messages and proof points we want to roll out? And then how does that play into the different variables? Is it seasonal? Because you have the holiday season, the spring season, the summer season, the back to school, and then the holiday season again. Is it based upon some policy changes where you have different administrations that are coming in with different agendas and you want to complement that? Is it based upon your planning, your permitting, your development strategy, where you want to make sure you're driving home certain messages that impact like your ability to get approvals, right? Like all the different variables that impact your development. You want to make sure that your social media campaign has the messages that meet and respond to each of those things across the timeline. And so that's where that content calendar is kind of like your specific plan, your urban plan for the digital strategy.
So I'm sure there are different sort of strategies that you're using, but in a lot of cases, are you trying to promote the development in a beneficial, good way so that you don't have a lot of pushback from the neighborhood or the city or all the different people involved?
You are, and it's like it's one of those things where it's like if you walk into a party and you say, "Hey, I'm the coolest person here, and I've got the best bag of toys," most people are going to say, "Okay, that's nice." Immediately remove the credibility of that, right? Like, but if you come in and you say, right, if you come in and you say, "Look, we have a vested interest in what happens here, but we also want to play well in the sandbox, and we can offer these resources to the benefit not just of our project, but all the projects in the market, because the rising tide lifts all ships. So here's the resources we bring, not just in terms of our expertise and our contribution with the product, but also in terms of the type of resources we provide the overall community and its built environment." And so it's like when you come as a source of a thought leader and an educator and a resource for the overall community, but you're coming qualified to do that as an expert, that's a better approach. And that plays directly into social media in terms of coming out with content that's educational and of a resource, but also exemplifies your expertise or your experience. That's a big part of it. And then being another part of it, play well in the sandbox, is lauding and supporting and contributing to other stakeholders in your market that are having their own digital strategies and supporting them, liking, engaging, contributing to their experience. And so you're getting that affirmation of back to a real conversation. So you care not just about what you want to communicate, but also what the others are communicating and what their agendas are.
So are you looking for response rate, or are you looking for, how do you know if it's working or not?
So it's funny. So there's two things there. One is you have your tracking websites, applications, services that will provide tracking. Everything from the bigger companies to your kind of Salesforce type centric trackers for social media. So you have your trackers, but it's also how you digest the data based upon your goals. So within a particular project, you may have a sub-market that really has a vested interest. So you want to make sure you're really getting quality conversations in these market amongst influential people, community members, advocacy groups, etc. But then at the same time, you want to have a blended approach where you're getting like the larger reach. So there's some awareness of your project amongst your peers and other people who have some stake in this. So that's where you go into, okay, I want to have a certain number of impressions or comments within your reach, right? So it's really very bespoke and blended based upon the needs of your project.
That's fantastic. Well, I know your time is short, but just for fun, let's end with what your favorite sandwich is.
Oh, thank you so much. I think the Turkey Club comes to hand. Mine is just a dynamic opportunity to have a good bite.
Well, and that's cool. And who in the world, alive or maybe not alive, would you love to sit with and have this turkey club?
Wow, that's a good question. I think someone with a lot of personality, maybe like a Gandhi or a Muhammad Ali, or someone who just is very interesting lifestyle.
I assume you didn't get the opportunity to meet Warren Buffett during your days with Berkshire Hathaway, or maybe it's still going with Berkshire Hathaway.
Well, he's definitely still around. I mean, you don't get. I haven't met him personally. I know people in the financial markets who interact with him, and actually, he's a patron of a private club here in Los Angeles that Charlie Munger used to go to. But although I've never interacted with him, I can tell you that his energy and Charlie's energy is like within the fabric of Berkshire. It just truly is. You just feel their sense of prudency and sensibility and quality, just kind of tried and true mentality within the whole entire organization.
That's fantastic to hear. He just announced his retirement, but I'm sure it'll still, all that fabric is still going to be there within the Berkshire Hathaway world. So anyway, well, great to speak with you. Where can people get a hold of you?
Oh, thanks. So I actually put my private email address in the tag here on the video screen for the podcast, but it's my first initial last name, D as in Daniel, then Atwater, ATWATER, and then the @ sign and atwaterstrategies.us, like United States.
Oh, well, that was a fantastic conversation. I I look forward to doing it a little longer next time, but I'm sure we can catch up and get a little more information down the road here.
Sounds good, Bruce. Thanks so much for having me. Really appreciate this. Good podcast.
Very fun. Thank you.
That's a wrap on today's journey through the SF commercial real estate scene. Ready to share your story? Visit sfcommercialconversations.com/guest. Your insights could lead the next conversation.